What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and today we are going to be discussing my favorite training camp battles that are going to happen this off-season, well, this season, coming out of the 2021 season in training camp. We're going to get into a little bit of OTAs and then training camp as those things start to begin and we start to look forward to the 2021 season. We're going to be going over all my favorite potential position battles and potential depth chart battles that's going to be going on during training camp and OTA. So without further ado, let's get right into it. As always, guys, before we start this video, make sure you guys hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new for more content just like this. And a quick PSA for everybody looking forward to the Young Guns podcast tomorrow on my channel. It's supposed to be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we're moving it up to 7:30 because that's when the Knicks are going to be playing. It's going to be more like a Young Guns special. We're going to be, having a watch party on my channel in place of the Young Guns podcast. We're going to have a watch party for the Knicks game 2 against the Atlanta Hawks. So it's a highly anticipated game. So we really don't want to cut into time of watching the playoff game and then also doing a live stream. So we'll be doing that 7:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night on this channel, so make sure you guys tune into that. So without further ado, let's get on to my favorite position battles or position battles I'm really looking forward to in training camp and at the start of OTAs. Obviously, these things haven't started yet. I believe maybe OTA started already. I'm going to be, trying to cover as much days as I can with Giants OTAs, whatever they really give us. There's 10 days, and every year I usually cover every single day, give you guys my analysis on it or what I'm hearing from it. So I'll keep you guys updated, the more information I get. And I know this video is a little too early to make, being that, training camp is supposed to be happening around July 27th. That's a good 2 months away. But since OTAs are starting to ramp up, you're going to be seeing some of these position battles start to heat up a little bit as we try to find out the pecking order in this depth chart for the entire team. So I wanted to make this video and then, kind of give you guys an outlook on how things are going to be looking like in 2021 as far as OTAs and training camp. So that being said, we're going to start off with some honorable mentions because these position battles I'm looking at, but I'm not really that much enticed about. But these are 2 position battles or 3 position battles that I'm just looking at just casually. The first one being the defensive, the nose tackle spot. I'm very interested in what's going to happen at nose tackle. You guys know the Giants brung back Austin Johnson and also Danny Shelton. They brung in Danny Shelton, former first-round pick of the Cleveland Browns, spent some time in New England and also Detroit as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be, that seems like a good matchup there. Try to get some competition on who's going to be that next nose tackle in place of the now Minnesota Viking Dalvin Tomlinson. Next, we'll be looking at the running back depth chart. Again, this is another honorable mention. The Giants signed a lot of running backs, more than I expected, and I love that they addressed the running back depth because, just to give it a little bit of an insurance plan for Saquon Barkley, just in case of the fact that he goes down again. You always have to be prepared, and it's always nice to have a healthy running back room so you guys, you don't get fatigued and you can keep running the ball and keep chewing clock and doing, that old school New York Giants football. I love how the Giants are getting back to that. The Giants brought in Devontae Booker, but behind Saquon Barkley, they drafted Gary Brightwell as well, and they also brought in Corey Clement, former Philadelphia Eagle, and they also signed Raquel Armstead, a speedy, fast running back from Jacksonville. So that one I'm really looking at, but not too much, a little casual. I kind of could already assume what's going to happen, with that running back depth chart. Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker, and then, Corey Clement, and then put Gary Brightwell on the practice squad and cut Raquel Armstead. So that's pretty much, just to simplify how I see that depth chart going. But yeah, it's an honorable mention. And our last honorable mention is Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. You guys know that these two tight ends are going to be deadly weapons, but who's going to wind up being that starter? Now, the reason why I didn't put it in my top 5 my top 5 list is because I think Evan Ingram is going to start. Evan Ingram, I'm pretty sure, is going to start. Kyle Rudolph is going to be the complement there. And you know, I'm actually pretty in awe of Kyle Rudolph's games played in his career. I did not know that he's been relatively healthy for the past 5-6 seasons. It was early on in his career that he had injury problems, but he was starting 16 out of 16 games almost every single year, and it goes back a while. And another thing I noticed is that he doesn't get a lot of yards. He's just a possession guy, a red zone threat. That's why he's averaging almost 5 touchdowns a year. So I definitely see Kyle Rudolph being a red zone threat, and being, you know, having him utilized. I know he's more of a blocking tight end now, but he made 2 Pro Bowls in his career of not having anything over 600 yards, but had a you know, good amount of touchdowns. So that being said, Kyle Rudolph and versus Evan Ingram, I mean, we'll see what happens in training camp. I don't think too much is going to happen in that, but it is going to be, I guess, somewhat interesting to watch. All right, so let's get on to the top 5 training camp battles that I'm looking forward to. And coming in at number 5, this is going by from least anticipated to most anticipated, and this might change over time. But all right, so at number 5, I have Tae Crowder versus Reggie Ragland. Now we all know that, you know, that number 1 inside linebacker spot is solidified with Blake Martinez, as we try to find somebody to rotate in there with Blake Martinez. We let go of David Mayo, we don't have him anymore, and we have Tae Crowder coming back, former Mr. Irrelevant, has done a phenomenal job with the Giants up to this point. And I mean, not right, you know, quite there to like instant starter, which is why the Giants brought in Reggie Ragland. But it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that starting spot there. They're both going to rotate, but it's going to be very interesting who's going to be the solidified number 2 inside linebacker next to Blake Martinez. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Reggie Ragland is a former 2nd round pick. He was highly regarded coming out of Alabama. I believe he spent some time with most recently the Detroit Lions, and then spent some time with the Kansas City Chiefs, and then before that I believe he was drafted by the Bills. I could be wrong about that, or he was just always with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he was highly regarded coming out of Alabama, former 2nd round pick, and so that competition is good to have there. And I'm excited to see what's next from Tae Crowder, as well, as he's been a guy that's probably going to be one of the most successful in Mr. Irrelevant picks to date. Coming in at number 4, the wide receiver depth chart. Now, the reason why I put this in there is that there's going to be so much competition in this wide receiving room about who's, you know, how the pecking order is going to look like when it comes to September and week 1 when we face the Denver Broncos. But at the same time, I kind of know how the depth chart is going to look. I'm assuming I think I know what it's going to look like. My assumption is the first outside receiver, Kenny Golladay, second outside receiver, Darius Slayton, and then you're going to have, you know, the mixture of Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, John Ross in the mix. So that's going to be interesting. And also Dante Pettis as well. I feel like we always forget about Dante Pettis, but he's in the mix as well. That's pretty much what I'm looking at when it comes to these wide receiver battle. Who's going to be that number 3 guy, or the main slot receiver? I assume it's going to be Sterling Shepard, but you never know if Kadarius Toney really impresses and really works on his route running and catches a lot better and all of that, and he winds up being the surefire number 3 guy in the slot. Or is it going to remain Sterling Shepard, and is John Ross going to make an appearance? Because I have no expectations for him whatsoever. And is Dante Pettis going to separate himself from the rest? Because it feels like we always forget about this guy. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Coming in at number 3, I have Nate Solder versus Matt Peart. This is one of the more familiar, more popular position battles that's going to be happening here in training camp and OTAs coming up. Is Matt Peart, the 2nd-year, 3rd-round pick, going to claim his rightful spot at right tackle, or is Nate Solder, coming off of an opt-out season and switching positions from left to right tackle, is he going to take the spot away from Matt Peart? And is Matt Peart going to have to wait yet another year to get an opportunity to start? That's going to be very, very interesting to watch, and I think it's going to be a very, very good matchup to watch. It's just, Matt Peart, I think, is ready to start. In my honest opinion, he's been and ready to start. I know a lot of people said, oh, we don't have a good sample size of Matt Parrott. Well, you're never going to get a good sample size of Matt Parrott if you don't play the guy. Play him and see what you have in him. You have to play him at some point if you want to see what you have in the guy. I'm tired of everybody saying we don't have a good sample size of him. You will never get a good sample size if you don't play the guy. Nate Solder, I'm happy that he's coming back. I'm happy that he's adding some competition. I'm happy that we have him for a very cheap price, which is why I'm completely okay with keeping him on the roster for competition. I hope it's a good matchup. I hope whoever wins that right tackle spot is the best right tackle for the New York Giants in this season. I don't care who it is at this point. I'm a huge Matt Parrott fan, but I really want to see who the best tackle to come out there. So we'll see what happens there with Matt Parrott and Nate Solder, but that's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Coming in at number 2, this is one of my favorite ones to look at, obviously, as this is ramping up. One of my favorite position battles to look at, and that's the edge rushers. Now, it's not just one or two guys. It's the whole position group. It's going to be rookies versus veterans. Azeez Ojulari and Elerson Smith are two rookies that the New York Giants drafted in 2021, and I think these guys can be very, very productive in the next coming years for the New York Giants. But the big question is, are they going to be that productive to be starters this season? And it's not far-fetched to think that. It's not far-fetched to think that Elerson Smith, coming from a small school and not playing a whole season and gaining weight and adding more pass rushing moves, along with Azeez Ojulari, is not going to start. It's not crazy to think that they are going to start over these veteran edge rushers, because it's not like these guys have done anything in the league up to this point that the rookies have not. I mean, Lorenzo Carter is coming off of a very promising season, well, a very anticipated season, but he had a season-ending injury. Same thing with Oshane Ximines. Oshane Ximines wasn't doing anything, but Lorenzo Carter looked very good. The question is, can he come back from that, and can he be that #1 edge rusher the Giants have been looking for, or is Azeez Ojulari going to take that role and start firing on all cylinders on day one? I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting. It's not far-fetched to believe that Azeez Ojulari and Elerson Smith can be day one starters. These guys are very, very, very good edge rushers, and it's not like Oshane Ximines and Lorenzo Carter are just so much better than these guys. It's not true. I mean, these guys are they're evenly matched right now. So it's very interesting. Rookies versus veterans. So what's going to happen here? And my most anticipated matchup coming up in the OTAs and training camp is, I think, a position battle that everybody is looking forward to, and that is Daniel Jones versus Mike Glennon. I mean, just clash of the Titans, guys. You guys know I'm kidding. You guys know, I hope you guys know I'm kidding, alright? Obviously, that is not the most anticipated matchup, and I'm not even worried about that, alright? Mike Glennon is the backup, and Daniel Jones is the starter. I feel like I have to preface that, just in case people think I'm actually think that. So, my most anticipated matchup is Darnay Holmes versus Aaron Robinson. I've been watching a lot of tape on these guys, and it's gonna be these guys are so different from each other, but different in a good way. Like, yes, Aaron Robinson is more of the tough tackler. He's a very, very good tackler, more aggressive, can be a little bit more handsy, but he doesn't have the awareness and doesn't have the kind of finesse that Darnay Holmes has. Darnay Holmes seems like he has all the footwork. He's got all the orthodox cornerback moves. He knows how to break on those routes, and he keeps up with the receivers. He plays the ball in the air. To me, he's more of a well-balanced cornerback, but Aaron Robinson is that, tough-nosed tackler, the guy that's going to hit you and hit you hard, and it should be a staple in a defense as far as being a good tackler and a decent press man corner. These guys are very yin and yang from each other, as far as their only similarity being man corners. I feel like these guys match up very well and being very different from each other. So that is one of the biggest matchups I'm looking at in this season. At this point, none of us really know if Darnay Holmes is going to be that starting nickel corner, or if it's going to be Aaron Robinson being the starting nickel corner. They both, I know a lot of people say Darnay Holmes could be an outsider or a boundary corner, and I know a lot of people are saying Aaron Robinson could be a boundary corner. I don't see them being boundary corners in the NFL. I know 5'10" cornerbacks could be boundary corners. I'm not one of those people that think if you're short, you're automatically a slot corner. That's not what I'm saying at all, but I think their skill sets both resemble that of a nickel cornerback. They both are better in the nickel spot or the dime spot. So it's going to be very interesting who's going to win the nickel spot and who's going to be demoted to the dime spot. So that being said, guys, those are my top 5 most anticipated position battles in the New York Giants OTAs and training camp. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. What are your favorite matchups going into training camp? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.